What is up, BookTube? It is Monty, and today you're going to be seeing this face in like 3 different videos, so we're just living with whatever this clownishness is. But today we are doing my best books of 2020. I compiled a list. I stuck to 10 because I only read 100, and so if I did any more than 10, it kind of felt like cheating. There are a lot of books that I read last year that I really enjoyed, that I love, that I think I gave way more than 10 books, like 5 stars. You can go through and look at that. Some of the books that I'm going to talk about today, there's also, I'm all over the place. Down in the description, if you wanted to see some of the books, like, didn't make the list, while I was reading in 2020, and I still need to go back and, like, catch up, but I started, like, a bookshop affiliate web thingy, so if you buy things through there, I make a very minuscule commission there. But there is a shelf of like all of the best things that I read that is more than 10. And again, that you might not see in this video, but after some soul searching, after some oh god, my hands are, let me go put lotion on. We have been lotioned up, and luckily the first couple of books I'm going to talk about, I'm just going to throw a picture up because I don't own them. So coming in, they are mostly ranked. Numbers 5 through 2 are all kind of like in a very nebulous, no, 4, 3, and number 2 are all kind of nebulous. They were all kind of like up there, and then number 1 is top tier. Definitely y'all need to read it. But at number 10 is The Looming Tower, Al-Qaeda and the Road to 9/11 by Lawrence Wright. I listened to this on audiobook and I just kind of ate it up. I'm not going to act like I know a lot of history. This definitely gives us a lot of history. Like, we get Cold War, like we go all the way back to the 1950s, so even like before the Cold War, to kind of understand how things came to be, which I really appreciated because, again, I was clueless. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So that's what that chronicles. I don't really have a lot to say about it other than I really enjoyed it. Lawrence Wright narrates it. There was a TV adaptation for Hulu that I tried to watch and was bored by, but I was thoroughly engrossed through the entire audiobook. Coming in at number 9 was kind of I think, a criminally underrated book that came out last year, and that was The Best Lies by Sarah Liu. This is kind of, I don't want to call it like a mystery thriller because you know who the murderers are, like, at the beginning, and you know who the victim is at the beginning, but this really tells the story of these 2 teenage girls, how they murdered this man, and like their toxic relationship. It definitely gives me very much 13, that old movie with Nikki Reed before she did Twilight, and that was, it's kind of like the same vibes. They're completely different, but if you watched 13 when you were entirely too young to see that, and you just kind of want to see a toxic friendship play out, I think The Best Lies is perfect, and no one read it last year, and criminally underrated. Next, I have Exit Stage Left, the Snagglepuss Chronicles. I forget who did it. It was a graphic novel that I read in January. I'll throw, again, a picture up here. I really enjoyed this. Specifically, Kath from Solace in Stories. I think you would appreciate this. I've never watched a BoJack Horseman, but I feel like there is BoJack Horseman vibes with this one. I didn't think I was gonna vibe with it, and again, sleeper hit, so could not really recommend more than I already do. Number 7. I can't read or count, apparently. But coming in at number 7 is How It All Blew Up by Arvind Ahmadi. Now, this is not to say that I do not love this book, because I do, and I still stand by. I did a review of this one, so I'll leave that linked up in the cards, because I think this is required reading. But How It All Blew Up by Arvind Ahmadi, again, 10 out of 10 read. It chronicles the, his name is Amir? I think his name is Amir, who is a queer teen. He's about to graduate from high school. There's more blackmail. y'all know how I feel about blackmail's a plot device, but it is what it is, who just decides he's gonna say fuck it, and he runs away from his problems, and by running away from his problems, he goes to Italy. There's a found family situation, there's a little romance in Italy, and the story is chronicled through Amir recounting it to the TSA. You know, he and his father have a disagreement on the plane, and because, you know, the Iranian racism happens, and so that's how the story unfolds. But I thought it was really well done, and I definitely think everyone should read this. I think a book, I don't know, I saw a vague tweet. I think someone was doing this for a book club pick, so like people are reading this one. Love that for everybody, but y'all need to read this. 10 out of 10, would not recommend more highly. Next is another nonfiction one. This was Catch and Kill, Lies, Spies, and a Conspiracy to Protect Predators by Ronan Farrow. This chronicles his time writing about Harvey Weinstein and how it went from NBC to the New Yorker and all of the information that went in there. I will say that if you are listening to the audiobook, I want to say it's in like chapter 9, there's an audio excerpt of Harvey Weinstein that I found deeply unsettling. Was not expecting that going in. So just know that that exists if you listen to the audiobook. But I really enjoyed this one. Originally I was gonna read Catch and Kill, and then I was going to read She Said by the, I think it was by the reporters who broke the news in the New York Times. I didn't get around to reading She Said, but Catch and Kill was a great little time. Ronan Farrow narrates the audiobook. It was a great little time. You love to see it. Now we get to the part of the story where I actually own the books. So coming in at, this is number 5. Yes, coming in at number 5, I have Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. I also have a review of this one, so I'll leave that linked in the cards as well in case you happen to miss it when I talked about this earlier this year. This is pitched as our main character, Amira. Is that her name? Amira? Yeah, Amira is living her life, you know, doing her thing as a nanny, and she gets accosted in a supermarket and accused of kidnapping the white girl that she's the nanny for. This one, I feel this deals with themes of tokenism and how white people tokenize the black people in their lives. Some people talk about performative activism. I'm not intelligent enough to engage in that conversation, quite frankly. Again, to me, it just felt like she was being tokenized in their lives, which was a cute little moment. I really enjoyed it. I think that Kylie Reid was able to execute that vision in a way that I was compelled by. The book is also just very messy, so y'all know that's key to my heart. But again, I do think that this was a successful debut. I think it won Best Debut. It won some Goodreads award, which we know is like a popularity contest, but when it suits me, I will acknowledge victories. The next book, number 4, the 4th best book that I read this year was Stay Gold by Tobly McSmith. I feel like this had a lot of hype initially. It was there, people were going to read it, and then they just kind of dropped off. This deals with our trans man main character, Pony. I think he's transferring schools. They might have moved. A little fuzzy on that particular detail, but he's going to this new school, and he starts this flirtationship with the cheerleader, other perspective, Georgia. And Georgia doesn't know that Pony is trans because Pony is just trying to live his life. He's not trying to have the whole school in his business, which does kind of create some friction with one of Pony's other friends who is in like his trans support group. But this was just, it was everything. I love to see it. It was really intense and kind of dark. There is a scene in the 3rd act that is, you know, some violent behavior, some violent transphobic behavior, but the author is trans, so if that's going to cause you harm, then either be prepared or just, you know, don't pick this one up. But it was one of my favorite reads. I'm happy that I picked it up. Next on my list is a book that I think everyone's going to see coming. I think maybe people would have thought it would be higher. Then number 3, but at number 3, I'm going to put To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. This is an adult science fiction novel where we follow our main character, Kira Navarez, who is an exobiologist. So she works for this private company, going around to these different planets with her team, trying to find out if there's like organic life on any of these planets and how suitable they are for colonization, essentially. And on the most recent mission that we're on at the beginning of this book, she stumbles into this alien, like an alien temple, essentially. And in this world, you know, humans have colonized space. They're on a bunch of different planets, in a bunch of different systems, but they haven't found intelligent life anywhere. And so this is like the only second major like alien discovery at the point in this novel. And what she finds in that alien temple kind of kicks off this intergalactic war, essentially. And I really loved it. I won't say this is like the fastest paced read ever. It is really chunky. The pages in this are very thin. I personally listened to the audiobook, which I really loved. But I think that it is an excellent use of the pages. And I didn't think it dragged. For me, it was always very successful in keeping me roped into the narrative. So I personally could not recommend this more highly than I already do. And if you haven't read it, I'm kind of questioning, like, what are you doing with your life? Like, just pick it up. Like, I know it's chunky, but like, it's January. You have a whole year ahead of you to read it. A couple of pages a day, you'll be done before you know it. Coming in at number 2, I think, is another book that a lot of people would have assumed I was going to put at number 1, and that is Anna K, A Love Story by Jenny Lee. This is an Anna Karenina retelling. So we follow a fuck ton of different characters. The character dynamics are messy as fuck. They're interconnected as fuck. And I personally, I loved it. I loved every second of it. The audiobook is what really powered me through most of this because I was waiting for my flat tire to be fixed, so didn't have the physical with me. But it's narrated by Jenna Ushkowitz, who was, what is her name? Tina on Glee. So that was a little fun moment, and I'm very much looking forward to the sequel. When this was coming out, it had a lot of hype, but then it came out, and I think a lot of people were let down by it. It is, again, it's a classic retelling. It has a much more literary fiction quality to the prose. It's not your typical commercial YA, so I could understand some of that letdown, some of that disappointment, but I also just really fucked with this book and could not recommend it more than I already do. So, Anna K. Which means that my number 1 best read of the year was Ace of Spades by, let me not fuck up this woman's name, let me pull up Goodreads. Farida Abike Iyamide. I believe, if I'm remembering the pronunciation from when I did the review or my wrap-up, I believe that's correct. But Ace of Spades is a private school. So we have 2 main characters, Chiamaka and Devin. I believe I'm getting those correct. And Chiamaka is kind of like the popular girl. She's like, she got what she needs to do. Like, she's, you know, destined for greatness. Devin, much more average. But at the beginning of their senior year, things start to go all kinds of wrong because Devin is appointed as like a prefect at this little boarding, it's not a boarding school, it's like just a private school. And he's like, I'm way too average to get this. And then there's a series of like threatening messages that they get on their cell phones. And so our protagonists link up and try to get to the bottom of this. Y'all, Ace of Spades is going to be, this is kind of cheating because you can't read it yet. It doesn't come out until June. I think it's June 1st in the US and June 10th in the UK. I think that's accurate. I don't know. Check Goodreads. So good. It's the best book of the year. Farida out here changing the game. And like I said in that wrap up, she's a Dan Blair shipper. So you know she has taste. You know she has taste. She has changed the game. She has elevated the genre. Ace of Spades, hands down, is my best book of 2020. And I am very much looking forward to seeing it on all of your best books of 2021. But with that said, that's the video. I don't have anything else to say. Thanks for watching. Thanks for waiting. I'll see you guys again soon with another video. But until then, and until next time.